Thank you so much for joining me on the way forward. I'm Eddie Francis, and I am so pleased to have this guest. This is someone I've known for a while. I haven't interviewed her in a while, and so it is good to have Mildred Dillon, the Money Doctor, hanging out with me on the way forward here on WBOK. She's a CPA, she is a speaker, she's an author. She's also now she can add to her list of stuff podcast host, and she is the host of Money Talk, and so you can catch that under the Money Doctor on your favorite podcast platform. Hey Mildred, how you doing?
Hey, Eddie, thank you. And thank you again for bringing me on. You were my first opportunity on radio.
You know what? Every time you tell me that, it's really funny to hear that. That I mean, I don't know. What was I thinking? What
I know.
was I
Started.
desperate? What was the deal? No, I'm joking.
Look what you started. Look what you started. I mean, man, yeah, you were the seed that I needed, or I guess you watered or whatever. But yeah, it really changed the trajectory of my business, which was new at that time.
Well, no, I mean, what it was is that I love the way that you have made money an approachable topic for a long time, and you have made it easy to listen to anything related to money. You don't make people feel bad about money. You don't oversell stuff. I mean, that's what I have always heard from you that I've always liked. And so, with that being said, people are nervous right now. There are people who are saying, I need to get ready for a recession. I need to get ready for some really crazy stuff. And then we've had people who've experienced job loss over the past couple of months. And
Mhm.
so I wanted to get your thoughts about how people can manage their money in tight times, because there are people who are having tight times,
Yeah.
definitely, but then there are those who are thinking about the tight times coming. So let's start with a macro view. When you take a look at finances, whenever people are looking at what's happening out there in the world, in society, what indications should we look for that times just might be getting tight financially for a lot of folks?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been here. I mean, and even before this administration and, COVID dealt a lot of businesses a blow. I just kind of feel that even as I ride the streets of New Orleans, like people are still trying to rebound from that. So, absolutely, you're not crazy. It's tough out there. And here's the thing, just like what we're seeing now, even in the Middle East, one thing affects everybody else. And so maybe you're okay today, but you don't know what client of yours or what customer base. Look at us right here on the Gulf Coast. We don't know what hurricane season is coming. That's kind of my story of being flat broke, literally down to 20 bucks. And so I just want to go on the record and let everybody know I can relate. I had just started Money Doctor when the recession hit. I was a couple years in, and the things that we're going to be talking about today, I wasn't doing. So I was strapped. That was credit, it was everything, other people's money. And I got caught up in that really bad. But the good news is I had a excitement and a vision for this Money Doctor brand. And like I said, you came along probably a good year or two into it, with giving me an opportunity to put words to it publicly. But man, so you're not crazy. But yeah, it's definitely time to tighten the belt. Time to put yourself on a fixed spending allowance. And I kind of jump on your question, so I'll let you ask.
No, that's okay because you mentioned a couple of things. I mean, first of all, on the Gulf Coast, we have hurricane season. But then when you think about people, for instance, on the West Coast, there's wildfire season. And then you have other folks who are going through, you have Tornado Alley. But then on top of that, you do have things like changes in administration that affect finances, and we never quite know. And now we're talking about a conflict. And so it
Yeah,
seems to me that they're just, you, when you look at the news, and it's something that makes you nervous overall, you
yeah.
need to say, okay, wait a minute, let me start thinking about what my next thing is going to be.
Yes, absolutely. And it all starts with reserves.
Hmm.
Do you have reserves? If you don't have reserves, I'm scared for you. And you should be scared. And to be fair, to be honest, we weren't really taught how to get reserves. Hand raised over here, me
Yeah.
included. I had to
Yeah.
come up with my own systems as a business owner because it's different when you're behind a desk or you're at a day job and everything's planned out for you. It's just different strategies for different markets, is what I've discovered. But when you're out here hustling and you got to take care of the clients who are giving you the little money you do have, you still have to figure out how to pay yourself first.
Mm.
Right. Something.
So,
If it's $5, there's that money doctor talk again. Start where you are. Start small. The rest will come.
okay, so that is a comforting thought because
Yes.
I think a lot of people think in terms of being able to start to build reserves. I think people think in terms of I need to have at least $50 or $100 or I need a big amount if I'm going to start building my reserves. But you're saying whatever you got, just
That's it.
squirrel it away somehow.
Yeah, and let me tell you what the little trick I use. I remember when I was in my famine in church yesterday, famine. I remember whenever I would get a check, a call to come pick up a check, because I had receivables out there. But when people are strapped, accounting services that they've already had or taxes that have already been filed, that's not really the priority, is it? It's getting food on the table and stuff like that. So, but when I would get a call for a check, I always would put some in a savings account. I didn't do it immediately, but I would just put some aside. I like 10% as a number, but something, because a lot of times those same people gave 10% church yesterday,
Hmm.
since we're recording this on a Monday. We're big on that for other people. We're going to make sure the bills get paid. We're going to make sure everybody gets theirs. But you got to now prioritize you and your mental health and your family's financial future. Just put some in an account. And I do like linked savings accounts. Okay. So, because let's face it, we may need to get that back this week to cover something. Okay. But it's a psychology of paying yourself where if I get some, I'm going to put some aside for me. Now, I may need to borrow for myself by Wednesday, but still, I'm still beginning to put me first. And at least I got it to borrow from myself.
So, what kinds of strategies, besides being able to save a little bit of money or put a little bit aside, what kinds of strategies do you suggest for people to start to manage their finances a little bit more responsibly and effectively?
Try I begin to identify. It's the same strategy I teach for families. Identify needs versus wants. See, a lot of times we can't get to that simple thing because there's clutter all in our head. And especially when you're struggling financially, that's going to give you the biggest clutter you've ever experienced. It's an emotional thing, our finances, our money, because I've lived it,
Hmm.
I can speak it. But you need to identify, get a piece of paper out, however you do it. Use apps, whatever it takes. Is this a need or is this a want? And do that for 1 week. I'm a weekly person. I like looking at the numbers weekly, not monthly. Monthly too, obviously. But when you're in tough times, a month is too long. We need
Hmm.
weekly. You just like the doctors start us off strong at first and a lot, and then we taper off. That's what we're doing. And I can tell you, if people will do these things within 30 days, they're going to have some savings. It's pretty amazing. It doesn't take long, but it's radical. It's a radical shifting of our focus. So, to answer your question, I begin to identify needs versus want. Coffee shops, wants. I hate to say it, gym memberships or fitness things. Look, the hair and nails ladies, wants. Those are not needs. We got to get real because if that paycheck disappears tomorrow, you're gonna get real. And the sad
Hmm.
part is create your own crisis now because then now you're in crisis and it's really hard. So create your own crisis now. Needs, wants, two columns. Needs, wants. Is this a need or want? And if you just total up your wants in a week of what you spent your money on, since it's still flowing right now, we hope, but for those that you can relate, if it's not, you'd be surprised how much you spent on non-essentials that if you just would have paid yourself first, the way that I mentioned a few minutes ago, at least you'd have it building and you'd see it and you'd feel some sense of accomplishment. Because that's what this is too. We want to feel a sense of accomplishment as we're doing these things.
All right, I want to play out a scenario. So you run this really good information by somebody, and they start saying to you, I I can't save money. I need to make money. How do
Yeah.
you respond to that?
Well, and the question is, are they unemployed? Because if they're unemployed, they're right.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
we have to figure out how do we begin to bring money in. But what I began to do in my early days of Money Doctor, I would say, look, I don't care how it's bringing in, how you're bringing it in. If there's anything coming in, I can work with you. Because if that's the case, think about it. We can apply the strategy that I just gave you. But we do need something coming in. That's why I tell parents, start giving your kids, do this with your kids. Every time they ask you something, is that a need or a want? It's a want. I've seen it. It's hilarious because the kids are, they're smart. They're going to do this. It's a want. Well, let's put that in the wants category, write that down. And you now give them money to manage. I'm just asking everybody in the household to do the same thing. They're going to make different decisions if they have to spend their money. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I've
Hmm.
seen this work. It's crazy. Needs versus wants. Let's start there. And we have a tendency to think things are needs that aren't.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
mean,
they're right. They do need to bring money in. And so we can help those people. If you don't even have anything coming in, we still got something for you on the money doctor side because you need to make it first. Then you save it. Make it, save it. Then you keep track of all of it. See that, see what's going on? And if you're keeping track of all of it, come tax time, we can get those tax deductions. Now we're creating money from that paycheck that you've been getting all year. See, make it, save it, keep track of it. So if people aren't making it, I'm a realist. Let's start there. Why aren't we making it? Are they
mhm.
offering you overtime at the job? Do you need a second? I don't like, I'm not a fan of side jobs, second jobs. I prefer a side hustle. Let's get serious about that side hustle because people who are in tough times, especially here, they got something on the side that they're already doing to make extra money. They make it in some kind of way. We just are not tracking it so they don't get credit for it come tax time. Make sense?
Absolutely. And I do have a question about that. But first of all, you're listening to The Way Forward. I'm Eddie Francis, and we're with Mildred Dillon. She's the money doctor. She's a speaker. She's an author. She's a CPA. She's also the host of the podcast Money Talk. And so you made a distinction between another job and a side hustle. You seem to be more on a side hustle side. Why is that? What's the distinction?
Well, here's the thing. If a person's doing something on the side, they probably like it. They enjoy it. They have a passion for it. Because that's a lot of work to get off work and then go to work. Because that's what you're doing. You're getting off work and going to work. So typically it's something that they really are into. And guess what? Could be designed, created, put here on this planet to do. Ooh, that's giving me chills. Because now we're talking about your passion. We can take that passion, that side hustle, and now put some strategies in place to make it your full-time job, full-time business, part-time job. See the difference?
Hmm.
Money Doctor. I've been doing this type of thing for Money Doctor. So it was a passion. You put me on radio and I had no links for anybody to click. I had nothing hardly, but it was my passion. So I just continued to work my passion. That thing you'll do for free, by the way. That's why I like side hustles.
Hmm.
They're doing that probably for free or not as much as they could if they had some systems in place to properly get paid for it. But they're doing it already. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not asking them to do something they're not doing already.
So can I tell you a quick story?
You can.
When so the last 9 to 5 job I had, I left that job. I was terrified, and luckily I had someone to encourage me to start a business. And I remember I had a couple of people who were able to, they showed some faith in me. They said, "Hey, could you help me with this? Help me with that."
Yeah.
I went ahead, gave them my price. They met the price. I was able to start building some of the money. And I went to a business counselor, and this business counselor said, "Now don't forget you have a business. You don't have to pay for everything out of pocket." And I'm
Mhm.
going, "No, no, 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 no. No, no, no. This business has got to make money." And
Yeah.
it was such a relief the first time that not only the first time I was able to pay myself was just a magical day, but the thing that was also magical was I had a conference that I needed to go to. And I'm going, man, this is going to be an expensive conference. And I'm going through my, I'm going through my bank account. I'm like, holy crap, the business can pay for the conference like it's supposed to. And that
There you go.
relief
There
was
you go.
that was the biggest relief for me. And it felt good that I was able to turn something that was a passion of mine into an actual business, and the business was able to actually perform. Like that was the best day. I was able to figure that out.
And it was already doing it. Look at what you just said and look at your energy. It felt good. See, it's that confidence, it's those feelings that we want to recreate and get more of. Now, I'm going to sound a little maybe woo-woo for people, but I do believe in that because when your energy shifts, you can attract more money.
I believe that.
Yeah, when you, in other words, we got to get out of the dumps. Yeah, the numbers look bad, all that stuff. I'm here to walk it through with you, as you said. It's gonna hurt, but we got something. I'll give you a lollipop at the end and a plan and a plan. Because now you're empowered. And that's what I also heard. You could see a way forward
Mm-hmm.
with your business. But it came from that step three, tracking, looking at those numbers, that type of thing. And I understand that's not people's strength, but that's where, again, we come in. So that's why. And let me tell you something about the jobs. The jobs, in my opinion, especially the wrong ones, are like slavery.
Mm-hmm.
They take from you and they suck the life out of you. And we see it all the time when people are mismatched with jobs. I'm not demonizing jobs. We need jobs to feed our baby, our side hustle, right? But when the wrong job, it can just strip it can do the opposite of what you just described. So that's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a fan of pushing people into that environment. And it's hard now to get that right job that's going to fulfill those things. So I always inquire and want to know more about what are you doing on the side to make extra money? Even
Mm-hmm.
when I used to do tax returns, just W-2s and that's it. I don't do that anymore because I'm pretty pricey for those folks. And let's face it, TurboTax is out there. But I always ask, as part of my consultation, what are you doing on the side to make extra money? Let's talk about that because that could have helped you get another $2,000 refund had we documented that. And hold up, it's not too late. I got some worksheets to help you go backwards. But the point is, we're creating money from that job to feed that side hustle. Jobs aren't going to let you even bring home all the money you make due
Mm-hmm.
to the laws. The tax withholding laws are not designed for you as an employee. They're not. But for businesses, including side hustles, including home-based businesses, part-time businesses, it's amazing the money we can create because of the tax code. So that's another reason why you'll hear me say, "Hold up, what about a side hustle before we get another job?"
So I want to get back to helping people and figuring out what the the way forward is for people to manage their money. But one observation I want to make listening to you is that it seems as if financial management has a lot to do with attitude. Like you just have to have the right attitude when it comes to dealing with money because I've
Yes.
seen people who have had not the greatest attitude in the world and they are always struggling. And it's always if I can just get my hands on this really big next big money win, I'll be fine, but until then. So it seems like am I in a ballpark with that? That it seems like attitude has a lot to do with this?
It's an energy. And I guess in that sense, because I'm quirky, silly, all the stuff with this very painful topic for people, God picked the right one to do it. Because when I was in the lowest of my lowest of my lowest, I was blessed with these little kids here, this vision to create these books. And that's why when I talk about the Money Doctor kids, each one of these, Sammy Saver, Carla Credit, My Money Chart, they're doing something different with money that I just laid out, making it, saving it, keeping track of it, but they're doing it in a way that was fun. And it pulled that creativity out of me. And it was cutesy to get a vision. I'm like, huh? Really? She made how much selling Freezy cups? Look what it's doing. It kept me in a good space. It was
Mm,
exciting. It gave me something good to focus on. So even though my crappy finances were still waiting over there on me and all the bills in the mail that I couldn't pay, I had something giving me good energy. See what's going on? And then I would go out and show people the one book I could afford to have printed, and they would be excited about it. And so I needed that to keep me going. Yeah, I still need to figure that out. But little did I know, I'm attracting opportunity to pay that off, if that makes
hmm
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It does. So to give folks a way forward, for people to manage their finances better, what can someone do as soon as this interview is done? What is one thing, a couple of things, three things? What can people do to start getting themselves on track now?
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna tell you right now. I gave the strategies earlier. I'd love to just touch on it. One of those two maybe could work.
Hmm.
Get you a piece of paper. Next time anything you spend with plastic, Apple Pay, Zelle, whatever you're doing, Is it a need or a want? Begin to categorize your life in that way, need or want. And we know what the needs are, so we don't need to get into that. But all the various wants that people have, that's where your extra is. That's where that savings is. So if you do something just as simple as that, put it on your app, up, that's a want. That doesn't mean go don't go get it. It just means
Hmm.
now we're aware. Keep a log. That's the first thing. That's something simple we all can do. The
Hmm.
next thing I would say is if you aren't in dire straits yet and you've got something, you may not feel like you have enough. I guess we're always in that state of mind. Begin to use that strategy. Next time your direct deposit hits, take 10% and transfer it right away to a savings account. So if you don't have a savings account, go get the savings account. Go open it up and have it linked. I like two savings accounts, but the one I'm talking about right now for the hard times type people for sure, I need it linked so you can transfer that money back real quick. We're not trying to give the bank any money in NSF fees. You know what I'm saying? We need the alerts. We need all that stuff so you can hurry up and move it back. But at the same time, when you do that, I don't know, Eddie, can you relate to this? Ooh, I got to put that money back.
Oh yeah. I can
Got to put that money back.
relate.
Money back. Ooh, I got to put that money back. Guess what? Yeah, yeah, but it's your money. It's your money. I gotta pay myself back. You see
Hmm.
what's going on? You're in the driver's seat. And these are things, I know they sound so simple. My engineers, I struggle with folks like that sometimes because this is just too simple. It's just too simple. And so you'll never do it because it's just too simple. But this was meant to be on a childlike level so everyone can start where they are. That's the second thing. So try that. Link those accounts and start just transferring 10%. Get it out of your checking account, put it in that savings account, and watch it grow. Third thing, I have a whole suite of freebies at a link. And I don't know if you share the links or how you do with that, but if people would go to my website right now, they will see a whole page of free resources. It's called Over the Counter OTC, yourmoneydr.com. Same as my handle on social media. They will see all of these free things. If you're getting a paycheck, I'm going to show you how to bring home more from that paycheck. That's a freebie. If you need a strategy to save more, I got 28 ways for you to start saving money. That's a freebie. And then if you are someone you're in business or you're thinking about a business, you want to get started in business, I've got free stuff for you too at that over the counter page on the website.
And so if you want information about Mildred and the work that she does, especially as the money doctor, then you can go to yourmoneydr.com. Take advantage of the free resources. You can do that right now so
Yeah.
you can start getting you and your family or you and whoever or just you and you on
Yep.
track financially. Mildred, thank you so much. Appreciate you as always. Thank you for joining me on the way forward.
Thank you for having me.